Yeah, it is. Like you said, I think just when they were there, they like to
Okay, going to call to order the April 21st regular meeting of the Forest Hills Board of Education. This is a meeting held in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a community public hearing. There is a time for public comment during the meeting as indicated in agenda item 9. If you would like to speak during public comments, please feel free to fill out one of the comment cards that are right outside the door where you came in. They will be picked up right after the superintendent's report. And now would you please stand and join Boy Scout Group Troop 290, Pack 3364 as they lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Scouts, attention. Color guard, advance. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you all being here. I have a pin for each of you. If you would like to say your name really loudly for everybody so they can hear you.
Hi, I'm Ronan.
Ronan, good job. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm Henry.
Henry, thank you.
Hi, I'm Elliot.
Elliot, thank you very much.
Riker.
Riker, thank you.
Hi, I'm Blake.
Blake, thanks very much.
I'm Evan.
Evan, thank you so much for being here today. Great job. Okay, thank you very much. All right, we are up to our instructional highlight, which will be presented today by the principal of Central Woodlands, Mrs. Burton Major.
Good evening, Board of Education, Superintendent Kirby. Thrilled to be here this evening and presenting something that's very near and dear to my heart, which is our 5th grade music fittings process. So when you think about our students from kindergarten through 5th grade, they participate in music classes as one of their specials. And students learn music fundamentals and they enjoy all sorts of different musical genres. They engage in different musical performances, which you've probably been able to attend. And they even play the recorder as part of their learning in 4th and 5th grade. So this evening, I'd like to treat you to a short recorder concert. I'm just kidding. You've also all heard the sweet strains of the recorder, and you know that by the time a student has learned the recorder, it's time to move on. And so that's what happens in 5th grade. Students are learning instrumentation, they're learning how to play different notes, how to use their breath, but it's time for something new. So in 5th grade, toward the end of the school year, students get to participate in something called music fittings, where they are able to start to choose their musical path, to choose their musical journey as they begin to get a little bit older. So they are either trying out their vocal instrument for choir, or they're figuring out an instrument played with one's breath, like they have with the recorder for band, or possibly even an instrument played with bow and string for orchestra. Ultimately, our students, with the support of families and teachers, will choose which musical adventure they'll embark upon in their 6th grade year. And Central Woodlands is excited to be able to shine a spotlight on this pivotal time in our young musicians' development. Tonight, you will get to hear from Mrs. Creekard, our choir teacher, from Mr. Jembarski, who is our brand new music teacher for general music in 5th grade, and then he also teaches band and orchestra as well. He's a tuba guy, and the kids think that is so cool. Miss Benjamin, who teaches band and orchestra, and Mr. Poole, who teaches orchestra. And so you'll get to hear from each of them. I'm super excited about this because as a musician myself, I love seeing the excitement that our kids have about this next step in their musical journey. So enjoy. I might editorialize a little bit here and there, but let's hear from Mrs. Creekard.
Hi, I'm Pam Creekard, and I've been teaching at Central Woodlands since the day that it opened. So I have been a part of the fittings process here in the music department for, I believe, 27 years of my 28 years of teaching. And it's exciting and a huge part of our educational process for our kids because it's the first time that they ever get to choose something for themselves. In their whole educational career, everything has been done to them or for them. And this is the first opportunity that they get, that we get to participate in, where they get to choose what they get to learn. And so the process is so much fun because we get to see the looks on their faces and the enthusiasm that they have when they hold that instrument, when they put it in their mouth and they make a sound they didn't know they could make, or they hold the bow and the violin and they actually make a sound that they've seen professionals make and even their 6th grade friends make, but they didn't know that they could do it. So by having the teachers here and the professionals here to help those kids through that experience, they really get great feedback to hear how they could participate in playing that instrument. Now, as a singer, I also ask the kids to sing with me, and for them it's such a personal experience. But when they sing with me, the look on their face is like, whoa, I just did that. I just sang with an adult, and it was so cool. And the look on their faces, and when they turn and look at their friends, that is why we do this, because it is the enthusiasm of them getting excited about music that drives us to do it every year. Here we go.
My favorite thing about fittings this year was seeing the 5th grade students that I've been teaching the entire year have the opportunity to see what a band, orchestra, and choir are all about, have the ability to make their choice about what they would like to go to. And it's nice in my position because I teach 6th grade band, I can see the band students perform for someone like the 5th graders that they want to impress. I thought that was really impactful and super great to see.
Hello everyone, I am Michelle Benjamin. I teach 6th grade band at Northern Trails in Central Woodlands, and I absolutely love teaching beginners. And I have to say, a big highlight for me is when I get to play in the high school musicals and then playing clarinet, flute, saxophone, and then around me are all my quote-unquote beginners who have continued that 7-year journey through band, and they're playing the same music that I am. It's so rewarding. So before that happens, we're in 5th grade at the moment, and the students get to pick their instruments or choir, what they'd like to be involved with. So the journey, it actually starts in about early September. I set dates for the fittings, when our fittings concert is going to be, and when the 5th grade classes come down team by team or class by class for their fittings. We get those dates on the calendar, contact the music store. We have to reserve the people who are doing the fittings in the band room. This is the band room here, and we've got people who come, the retired band directors that do the fittings in this room, all the band instruments. Across the hall, then we've got orchestra, and they do orchestra fittings there, and right in between is Mrs. Creekard doing her choir fittings with the piano. So we have to get all of this set in September on our school calendar to make sure we got these dates set. Then in February, we have a letter that we send home to all the families explaining the fittings process, and it's reviewed with the students in 5th grade, and also the parents start reading it. And right about that time is where the music teachers are starting to meet their future families. So we're finishing out our 6th grade year, but in the meantime, we're starting to meet our 5th grade families, which is quite exciting. So then the biggest, most fun time, I have to say, and I enjoy this so much, is the fittings concert. And that will happen in March, and the 6th graders play for the 5th graders. And then the 5th graders are so excited. You see them in the hall, they're like, are you the band teacher? Are you the choir, the orchestra teacher? They're so excited to meet us. And then we also get to know them too. And so myself and Mrs. Creekard, we walk with our stack of papers down into the classroom, and the kids are like, oh, they're here, they're here. They're so excited. We hand their forms out. We explain to them what they'll try, 3 instruments and choir, and then we walk them down, and they just can't wait. They just run into the rooms, they're trying instruments, asking questions about it, and it's just a lot of fun, just very festive, a lot of fun. And then we ask for these forms to be returned to us by spring break, and then we start to look at, the numbers that we have. We start to put it into a spreadsheet, and then we know what our classes are for the next year. So thank you.
I'm Andrew Poole. It's my honor to be the orchestra director at Forest Hill Central, and that's been my post for the last 25 years. One of my favorite things in the world is sharing music with young people. And at the 6th grade, we get the chance to start that process with instrumental music and vocal music. And we do that through our fittings process. I'm always excited to start the trajectory of our students on this path, this wonderful adventure that is music. And I tell you this not just because it's what gets me out of bed in the morning, although it is. I like to share with our students that they have a wonderful opportunity to work with some really excellent and dedicated teachers, my colleagues. We're not just music teachers. We do music. We go home and do music. We get up and think about music. We come to school and we teach music. We're active in participating in music because musical model the things that we do in our professional and personal lives impact the trajectory of our students here at Forest Hills. I'm proud to be a part of our program, and I'm glad to get the opportunity to share music with our kids.
What you just saw was the fittings concert that our 6th grade students performed for the 5th graders. And I have to say that's my favorite is...
Hi, I'm Pam Creekar.
Get that to the next slide. My favorite is being able to see the kids go from just picking up that bow or just blowing that first note to the progress that they make by the end of just several months of school. It's really fun to attend the concerts and hear their progress. And the teachers do a great job of describing for families the progress that they've been going through. So just a quick snippet from that concert, and the choir, the band, and the orchestra all performed. I won't play the full. Here, Mrs. Creekar is demonstrating harmony, and many of the students have not had the opportunity to sing in harmony. So she has the two separate melody and harmony lines singing separately and brings them together here. So the kids get really a sense of what they might be able to try out in choir in the future year. Orchestra. This is all in front of a very interested, very enthusiastic 5th grade audience who get to see what they might be doing 1 year's time from now. Here is our band at that fittings concert. As a musician myself, I think back to my time in school, and I think about how I was never a student who was a dropout risk or anything like that. I was a good student, I enjoyed school, but what kept me so excited about coming to school were my opportunities with music. And I think that resonates with a lot of us, that there was something that we were able to grasp onto that really had us excited about our school day, really had us looking forward to a particular time with a teacher. And I know that our teachers bring that. It's so exciting to be able to share this with you tonight. Thank you very much, Board, for all of your support. We couldn't do it without you, and we appreciate you and your support of our young musicians. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I always, okay, I've got two things. One is when you pulled out the recorder, I was a little bit afraid.
You were nervous.
But the only reason was because there's only one recorder. If you had given a recorder to everybody in the audience, I swear, I say this every year when people like start to freak out about the recorder concerts and stuff, one recorder is awful to listen to, but when you got all of them in the room together, they actually sound really amazing. So I always enjoy going and seeing the whole big concert. So if you have kids coming up that are going to be playing the recorder, make them play quietly in their room, but don't be afraid of the big concert. And the other thing that I was gonna say is it's so fun when you get a chance, if anybody gets a chance to go and see some of the concerts. They always have concerts for the choir, the band, and the orchestra a couple times a year where they have everybody that's from 6th grade through 12th grade playing, and it's fun to sit in the audience and watch the progression of how much these kids learn year after year and how really good they become by the time you get to the upper level of their in their classes. They do a really fantastic job. So thank you.
One of these times someone will possibly highlight for you recorder karate, which is another way that the kids make progress
Yes.
as musicians. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.